Good morning, everyone. We are here for the Sunday Mindset Session. Luke Moroney here, Search Party Property. Tony Meredith from Tony Meredith Coaching. We are all about belief today. Tony, how are you on this Sunday morning? Raring and ready to go as per usual. What's going on?
Mate, I'm excellent. We had a wedding celebration last night on my wife's side of the family. That was plenty of fun. Running a couple of minutes late, I was this morning. You put me under immense pressure, but that's okay. All's well that ends well. So, mate, I'm doing good. If you could notice some perspiration on the brow, it's because I've been absolutely racing to get here for this particular live.
Well, that's what it's all about. So, we've got that strong focus about what's going on, and we're, loving what is happening in the mindset space. I guess the reason why I bring up this particular topic is, speaking to a lot of people, whether it's in property or in their general lives, friends, family members, other, clients and other people that are out and about, there's a lack of belief, Tony. What are you thinking? How are you feeling about this?
Oh, I agree, and that's one of the roots of the problem is that if you don't believe that you can do it, then it's never going to happen. Henry Ford said over 100 years ago that whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way you're right, and that still stands true today as it did when he originally said it, because people just don't believe. Now, they may believe consciously, and remember we've got a conscious brain and a subconscious brain or a subconscious mind. So consciously you might go, yeah, I believe that I can, do that property thing or get a small business or create a side hustle, whatever it is. But subconsciously, what's really going on for you? And that's where the magic's happening. That's where it's at. And it's about how do we change those subconscious beliefs, because that is your operating system. If you think about it as a computer, that's what keeps things going, not your conscious mind, but your subconscious mind.
What's that line by Earl Nightingale, Tony?
You become what you think about. You become what you think about. Thoughts become things. We could sit here all day and rattle off the quotes, but the point is that, the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, again, it comes down to, we're talking about beliefs today, but if you don't believe it at your subconscious level, then it's not going to happen. And I'm sorry to say that, but today, don't despair, because in the next 45 minutes or an hour, you're going to have a whole lot of tips and tricks and strategies that you can do to start to change your belief. And that's what we do here on every Sunday morning.
That's what we're all about. Mums Come On, Tony Gallagher and Peter Trong have also joined the telecast saying good morning. Good morning to everyone. Great to have you all on here to discuss ideas about really living your best life and how do you live your best life. Belief is a big factor for us, and this is why we wanted to join and talk about this particular topic today. We're getting some big thumbs up from Matthew Stack. I don't know if you've been on here before, Matthew, but thank you for joining, and great to have quite an audience coming on this Sunday morning. Let's get straight into it, Tony. I know we tend to leave ourselves in a position to not talk about these things for another 10 or so minutes, but I'm going to get straight into it today and talk about the whole thing. Do you really believe is our topic of today? And I guess when we start things off is, without the belief, will you achieve? Now, we've been saying these quotes so far already this morning. You become what you think about. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And so, Tony, talk about the whole idea about if you don't have the belief, and this might be across people right now, that they want to aspire to do something. They have a goal that they want to achieve, but there's just a lack of belief.
Yeah, well, it's about listening to what your thoughts are. So if you have some fears, some doubts and uncertainty, that's not operating with absolute belief. Like, absolute belief is that come hell or high water, no matter what happens, that I know that I'm going to be well equipped to get through this. Doesn't mean that it's easy. None of this is meant to be easy. And I believe it's nature's way of culling out those that are fair income from those that aren't. But it's about recognizing that, do you truly, truly, truly believe, not from a conscious level, from a subconscious level, do you truly, truly, truly believe that you can do whatever it is that you're setting out to do? Again, it's about recognizing, where am I at? Some self-awareness. We talk about self-awareness here all the time. And if you recognize that there's some fear creeping in, some doubt creeping in, some uncertainty creeping in, what can you do about that? Right, what can you do about that? Because those things that are creeping in, perhaps that's starting to question your belief, perhaps your belief's starting to waver. And so it's about now recognizing that when those things come in, what can I do to overcome them?
Yeah, absolutely. So, really got to think about the whole idea is, without the belief, will you actually achieve it? You've just got to think about it for yourself. And I don't know if the audience are in this situation right now that they've got some sort of goal, they've got some sort of path that they want to, but they are lacking the belief. Just a quick yes or no would be interesting to see what people are experiencing right now for yourselves. Maybe you want to build a property investment portfolio. Maybe you want to do a property development, but you're not quite at there. Now, I was at the Property Development Network event yesterday, Tony, and you can see in the eyes of someone just starting out what their, I guess, the self-awareness of where they're at right now. And they might have just done the course with Rob Flux, or they may be in a position to look at their first deal, but they see and other people achieving, but they don't believe it within themselves. So the big question is, how are they actually going to achieve?
Yeah, 100%. And there's so many people, and Rob's course is a terrific course, and there's so many other great courses out there, but people are paying to be in these courses. But the information and the knowledge that you're getting is one thing, right? But you have to, at some stage, come down from the cheat seats, get on the field, and get into the game and mix it up. And that's one of the ways that you start to believe, and you start to believe by starting small. You don't try and go from here to here. We talk about it each and every week. We talk about it in a running context, in health and wellness, in a business, whatever. Go from here to here. So it's about starting small, but doing some things and then recognizing. I'd always do something. And those two magic questions that I use, right throughout my life is what went well and what can I do different? Oh, sorry, you were going to say them. Sorry, mate, I cut you off.
Fine. It's fine, Tony. It's like you're on a roll.
I am on a roll this morning, and so perhaps I need to be running late more often, right? So
get the pressure. So what do we say about pressure, right?
Well, it creates diamonds, right? Creates diamonds. So right now, there you go. So hopefully I'm creating diamonds for people out there. And whilst I go on my rant, I'd like to, you said people say yes or no, but I would love to have some specific examples if you wouldn't mind, people who are watching in, because I want to be able to help you. Like, I want to be able to give you some practical tips and solutions for you to move forward in whatever it is. I appreciate it's about you being vulnerable by asking the question and putting yourself out there to the world. But hey, let's leverage the next 30 or 45 minutes and let's help you move forward. But yeah, so people go into those programs, they come out the back end and they still don't truly believe it. Like, again, they may say that they believe it, but the beauty about, the training that you've done, the training that I've done, is that we are attuned to listening to key words such as if, buts, maybes. They are words that do not exude absolute belief that you can do something. And so it's about
really interesting from yesterday's discussions. And Peter Trong was part of these discussions. So Peter, just obviously keep it confidential between us. But I'm going to use an example of yesterday's discussions on someone who's done Rob Flux's course, and they're in a situation to think about doing their deal. So, we've, just before I get into that, we've got Kelly who said, good morning, Luke and Tony. We've also got Peter who said, for it's about believing that if I have done it before, I can do it again. Yes, but it's before you actually have done it before. So this is where you're going to have the belief, whether you haven't done it before, that you can actually do it, Peter. So it's a big one. Fong's kind of come on as well, said, good day, boys. And Peter says, believing is in the doing. So make that start. Something about a sausage roll, but I'm not sure what Peter is talking about there.
Okay, not sure about the sausage roll. Go, mate, sorry.
I did want to talk about a situation where, there's a student of Rob's who's gone through the course and they're in a position to actually take their step forward. I guess it's a little bit about self-awareness, but it was exactly what you said, Tony. They were talking about the buts and they were talking about the excuses. So they're like, Christmas has come, Chinese New Year has happened, a lot of events, New Year's, and all these things that are coming up. And I said to them, well, they're really good excuses. And that really brought up, a lot of emotion around that. And they could see it for themselves when I use that thing about good excuses. And then, there's obviously in the way of themselves making that, that forward movement.
Yeah, and it's called seek and you shall find. So if you are looking for reasons to not take a start, then you don't have to look that hard because they are everywhere, right? They are everywhere and you can make it up. It could be the weather. It could be, friends doing, well, it could be whatever, right? There's a whole range of reasons that people don't make a start. But seek and you shall find. What about the other way? What about when you seek the reasons to start? What about you look for the reasons to start, and they talk about that the best time to get involved in property was 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. The second best time, right now. And so it's about going, and this is not just about property, by the way. So it's about, life in general, business in general. So, but it's a case of making a start. Get rid of the excuses. But you're exactly right, Luke, and good on you for picking up on that language around the buts, the ifs, the maybes. That obviously we can't see inside people's minds, but what we can do is when people say things, the language that they use, the wording they use, the non-verbals, the body language, that helps us then identify, do you truly, truly, truly believe, or are you saying something but actually you're not fully in congruence with that? And unfortunately for the majority of people, it's the latter. It's the latter. That is, consciously I'm saying the right things, but subconsciously I don't truly believe what it is that I'm saying.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'd love to get Peter's thoughts on that discussion yesterday. We obviously won't name names, but the body language was really strong about that. Not only what they said, but how they quinched up there, felt like they were putting themselves very insular within it and scared and fearful around their next movement. And that can be a sure sign for people that they're not truly believing about even what their next step is. What's step one? We've talked about these sort of things many times, Tony. So I guess to round up that particular subtopic that we're talking about is without the belief, chances are that you won't achieve. If you've got that stupid question or you've got that ridiculous idea, that you're not putting your hand up, you're not asking for advice, you're not asking for help. It's the same way in regards to that as well. So
I would go one step further, mate, and not chances are. I would say if you don't believe, it's never going to happen. I'll give you a guarantee. And there was a post that we put up earlier this week. In fact, you were in the post. It was something that you and I said in a Sunday Mindset session many months ago when you were up in Brisbane. But I talked about the 3 guarantees in life, and the first one is death and taxes. But they're the first 2. The third one is that if you don't believe that you can do it, then I guarantee you that it will never, ever, ever happen. So that's my version of a third guarantee. Now, here's the thing. The flip side is that if you believe you can do it, there's not a guarantee that it will happen. I can't guarantee you that if you do all the right things, that I guarantee that you're going to have the success. But there's a faith element. And also the belief element is that when I do the right steps, when I do them consistently and persistently enough, when I keep doing those things, then I give myself every chance of success. But there's no guarantee. But the guarantee is that if you don't believe it, I guarantee you it will never happen for you.
Does any if you think about any people that have been successful, Tony, does anyone come to mind of people that have had the belief, or you go back in their stories from when they were young and how they worked themselves up to have that belief and it has meant that they have achieved?
Oh, there's so many examples of people that have the belief. I mean, just look at all the people who are being successful. You don't have to look at the famous people. We can look at people within the community that you were talking about yesterday. There's so many people within that community that have had success. You've had success. I've had success. There's other people beyond you and I that have had success because they believed that it was possible and they stuck with this thing day in, day out, day in, day out. Doesn't mean, again, I'll go back to the point I made about 10 minutes ago. It's not easy. It's not going to be easy. If you're looking for an easy ride, then I'm sorry, there isn't one, right? And it's actually nature's way of saying, well, you know what? Are you serious or not?
Have you got what it takes?
Yeah, have you got what it takes? Because here's the other thing. Let's keep the sayings going. Another saying is, look at these guns. Sun's out, guns out for you. Another saying is easy come, easy go. If it was easy to get the thing, get the success, then it would go easy. And I'll give you a great example. We see it with lotto winners, right? People who win lotto, easy come, they've won it, and easy go. It goes. And how many times do you hear that in the first couple of years, it's all gone, right? And so it's about, it's not meant to be easy. It's meant to be challenging. It's meant to stretch you. It's meant to put obstacles and adversity in front of you, but that's where you grow. And that's the beauty about all this, is that you grow and you learn to overcome the adversities. You learn to work through the obstacles. You challenge yourself. You grow as a person. You know, it's not a case of, well, hey, I just did something once and it happened. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, we're just talking today about what do you really believe in what you're doing, and we've just covered the idea about without belief, that will you actually achieve? And Tony's saying it actually guarantees that you won't achieve. So there's a guarantee from Tony today that without belief, you won't achieve. I want to move on to the second item is, what is your current situation and where are you at and where are you going? So I guess before you actually think about the belief side of things, we've got to sort of, reverse it a little and just say, okay, where am I at right now and where am I going? Tony, what's your thoughts around this?
Well, I've created a magical triangle. I believe that you break it down to three things, right? So if you take nothing else out of this morning, it's these three things. So pens and papers ready. The first one is, why are you doing the thing that you're doing? Like deeply, deeply understand, like if you're just into something for the money, you will fail. It won't work. I'm telling you, it's a journey. It takes time. So why are you doing it? Really get deeply connected. And when you uncover your why, then I want you to overlay it with another question, which is, for what purpose? For what purpose? For what purpose? And I want you to ask that question about 4 or 5 times. And I reckon at that point, you'll be getting close to, why you're doing what you're doing. That's the first thing. The second reason is then your what. What are you going for? The number of people that I come across, I speak to and they talk about, hey, I want to create wealth in property, or hey, I want to start a small business. Well, quite frankly, it's that wide. Right? So you have to narrow this thing down to specifically, what is it that you're doing? I spent time with a client this week where he had a rough idea of what he wanted to do, but we narrowed it down to specific dates, specific dollar value, specific everything, right? And then what we do, because the more specific you can be with your goal, then we create a specific plan of things for him to do. So he's now got milestones, working backwards from where he was. So his goal is into a couple of years from now, and we're working backwards to where we are today. But there's an enormous amount of specificity around what he's going to do because he knows exactly what he needs to be doing. And this is the thing: people are, well, I wouldn't mind doing that. Well, that thing that I wouldn't mind creating, getting a few $1 million or creating, wealth through a small business. But specifically, how you're going to do it. So there's your why, there's your what, and the last one is belief. And they are the three things. They are the three key things. And belief, again, I can give you so many great examples of belief. So one that is a classic that myself and others in a similar space to me refer to, and that's, Roger Bannister breaking the 4-minute mile back in the 1950s. And so there's two keys to this story. The first one is that for a long time, no one thought that this feat would ever be broken. And so he was able to do it. But here's the thing. He broke the 4-minute mile that others couldn't do. A month after he broke it, an Aussie, John Landy, broke it. So again, this is something that no one could ever be done. But all of a sudden, he's seen someone else do it. And he's gone, oh my gosh, this thing is possible. Because prior to that, none of us thought it was possible. But now, so this guy broke it a month after. A year after that, the first 3 place getters in a race all finished under the 4 minutes for the mile. So someone did it once. And now it's about, oh my gosh, it's possible. And so the example I'm using, that I'll guarantee the majority, if not all the people who are watching us here today, whatever you are trying to achieve, you are not pioneering. Someone has gone before you. Someone has laid the platform. Someone has carved through, the long grass, created a pathway, a blueprint for you. Figure out who it is, find the blueprint. It is possible, and follow it.
Even Elon Musk, Tony?
Also, but Elon Musk is someone who he is forging his own thing. And if someone wants to be like Elon Musk, right, but he is forging. We're looking at going to Mars and all these other places. But he's an example of someone who's at the front. But I'm suggesting that, and Elon, if you're watching, you're the exception. But other than Elon, for the people who are watching us here today, someone has gone before you. Someone has gone before you. So find the blueprint, follow it. It is possible, and just do that.
Met a lot of people at the property development event yesterday that do watch us on the Sunday morning.
Oh, great.
I don't even know. A lot on replay. So it's really interesting to actually meet these people in person. So it's really good to see the activity and the actual difference it does make to people, and the smiles it creates by just, I guess, meeting these people in person, which is great. A lot of those people are on here today. David says short-term pain for a long-term gain. And Michael says, g'day, Peter, and good morning, all. So Michael Richards has come on. So good to have you.
Great.
I do want to say about something personally for me. I know I had a bit of a goal for myself going back a couple of years where I wanted to buy 15 investment properties within 2 years. And I just put it up on my wall, and 18 months later, and I was just looking through like my property portfolio, and I looked up and I saw it on the wall there, and I'm just like, I've actually purchased those 15 properties in 18 months. So I made it happen in a lesser amount of time that I even put up on my goal. And it was amazing to see that sort of that belief and focus and determination to get to that place. I guess that's a story that you can, think about for yourself, whether that inspires or motivates you to think about how you're going to do it yourself. Don't use my example as a direct example of what you're going to do, but use it as an inspiration or motivation to create something for yourself. Maybe it's something you pop on the wall, something you read each and every day, something you work on, you visualize, and then takes you, and you still have that big one, the belief you're going to do it. Because my belief was unwavering. And that's the point of the difference when I'm talking to some of these people in property as an investment portfolio or the developers, same sort of situation. The difference in wording, body language, drive, motivation is so different from someone who I can see will achieve, as opposed to other people that are kind of wavering in their ideas and thoughts and body language to actually see that, well, in this current state that you're at right now, well, like Tony says, you're guaranteed to not achieve that.
Well, there's two words that come to mind, Luke, and firstly, a great personal example. And, for me, I had a similar story where I set myself a date to leave my job. It was the 26th of August, 2000. Well, sorry, it was originally going to be the 26th of August, 2018. That was a Sunday, so it had to be the Monday, 27th of August, 2018. And we did it on the 16th of March, 2018. So, I did the same. I got up at 4 a.m. in the morning for 18 months beforehand, visualised myself leaving, visualised the farewell speech, and I did it 4 metres from where I'd visualised for all those mornings. It was, if it didn't happen to me, I wouldn't believe it. It was truly amazing. But the two words that come to mind for me, Luke, is interest versus commitment. People are interested. People are interested in, I wouldn't mind getting into property. I wouldn't mind doing these things. Versus commitment. Commitment's very different. Commitment is you will do what it takes. You will go to network meetings. You will research. You will, find mentors. You will turn over every single rock that you can to figure this out. That's commitment. So there is a distinct difference between the two. And it's about, well, you have to recognize, am I interested? I like the idea of it. A lot of people that I meet at those network meetings, and not just that one, this is general, right? It happens right across the people that I meet. There's an interest, but there's not a commitment. So you've got to challenge yourself. Today, on Sunday, challenge yourself as we set up for a new month starting tomorrow. Are you interested in whatever it is that you're going for? Are you truly, truly, truly committed to bring that to life?
Absolutely. David says, my way is to build a safer, prosperous community and financial independence for myself and those in our community. My then next level on that is, David, do you have the belief that you can do it? And like Tony said, do you have the commitment to do it? So it's a big one for all of us to actually explore that. You can have that why, you can have that purpose for yourself, but do you have the commitment and do you have the belief?
And also, David, ask yourself the question, for what purpose? So keep asking that question, keep asking it 4 or 5 times and then come back with the answer. So that's where the true why is. And, and David, it's a wonderful cause that you're wanting to do, but it's all about you really getting clear on why do you want to do it, and then how do I put the steps in place to bring this thing to life. That's the thing. The thing is the action. I said before about people getting out of the stands, get on the field and get into it and bring this thing to life.
He said, yes, I do. I am committed. So then the next level, are you, talking about the purpose or asking yourself about the purpose? Then the next level is, do you have the full belief that you will achieve?
Yeah, and also, and David, I'm not wanting to pick on you, but when people say, are they committed? Remember we talked before about consciously people say they're committed, but subconsciously, are you truly committed? Do you truly believe? Do you truly have no uncertainty whatsoever? No uncertainty whatsoever. You have every faith and belief that you are on the right path, that you are going to bring this thing to life. What are your goals specifically? When are you going to bring them by? And again, we're just using you as the example, David, but it's, quite often people say, yeah, I'm committed. And I'm not saying this is you, but I'm saying generally speaking, yeah, I'm committed. Yeah, I'm committed to that thing. But are you truly? Are you truly? And we talked last week about the formula for change, which is self-awareness or awareness plus action. Action, 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 action. Those who work privately with me, either one-on-one or in a group setting, they know that 100% it is all about getting moving. And why do we do it? We talk about belief. I touched on it earlier. Start small. Take action. Don't try to compete against and compare yourself against the likes of Luke or myself or whatever. Wherever you're at, take some action. Then there's a process. Do the action, a small action, recognize what you've done, pat yourself on the back, have a reward, right? And that reward does not need to be a financial reward. It might simply be that you allow yourself half an hour to sit in your backyard and just ponder the meaning of life, right? That could be a reward. But reward yourself, constantly reward yourself, right? And then go again. And that's one of the ways. There's a number of ways that we can improve our belief, but one of them is to start small and recognize the improvements that we're making each and every day.
Things about like, what baby steps are you going to take today?
Yeah, and that's it's just about
it's it makes me think about, are you really and truly living and breathing it? When I think about the success I've had, it is the determination on something is so strong and so focused that even if someone comes in and says anything to me about I'm not going to achieve it, or what if it fails? I was like, what do you mean, what if it fails? There's just
white noise
for me that it will fail. That nothing comes about within my energy or aura or anything, because that's what I had when I was leaving my job, leaving my 9 to 5. What if it doesn't work out? Well, it will. Well, what if it doesn't? Well, if you want to make yourself happy about a response, I can go back and do that role, but that's not gonna happen. That going back to that 9 to 5 isn't not for me. So the living and breathing side of things, living and breathing it is something that was just so strong and so tight. So getting up to that level, if you're not at that level, then maybe you got to work on that for yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to go through some strategies to get there. The other thing is, Luke, those questions that you get asked, to me, that says more about the person asking than it does about you. So, that person who's asking them, they have their own doubts and insecurities. That's what that says to me. And, again, there's an old
challenge, Tony, as well. It's a good challenge for us to go, how are we actually living and breathing it? So it's kind of almost like, even if you were to challenge as a coach, right? And maybe this is like a harsh thing to do, but if someone gets to a point, yes, I really believe that I'm going to do it. Well, how much do you believe it? And, what if it fails? And they actually sort of give in to that. And then it was like, well, I could do this, I could do that, whatever. If they're not, in that direction, or they're still pointing north in with their compass, do they actually truly believe, or are you taking people on that challenge?
So it's called, for me, the pressure test is be, do, have. Are you prepared to be who you need to be in order to do what you need to do so you can have what it is that you want? Be, do, have. And it's a great way that you can pressure test. You sit there and say, well, I want to create X amount of dollars through a small business, right? Well, are you prepared to be the person that you need to be in order to do that? What does someone who's created $1 million in business look like? And maybe if that's not realistic, let's talk about $100,000. What does someone who's created $100,000 in business look like? This is all around, how do you identify yourself, your own identity? So who do I need to be? The next one is do. Am I prepared to get up early, work late, never give in, constantly be on the phone seeking out different answers, being resourceful with what I do, be productive with my time, not busy. That's the do side of things. Ultimately then, to have what it is that you want. So be, do, have. It's a great way that we can pressure test what it is we're after.